Hey, y'all, what's up? It's your girl, Eastern Elise, and you are on Evoke, the podcast that talks about things that make you go, you know what I mean? Welcome back. Yes, welcome back. I started this podcast at the end of last year, and in the midst of like really getting deep into it and setting up days to film content, life started to happen, and I had to sit down with myself and re-examine how I'm going to make us all think about things and realize where we're headed in certain situations if I haven't looked at my own direction in my own situations, and that's where I'm at. So, your girl is here to talk about just that, So life happens, and it made me realize that things are going to go the way that they're written, and you just have to learn how to live. That's what being present means. It means that you're going to experience things in real time. That means you have to react in real space. And you have to make sense of that. And you just have to change the way you think. You have to evoke a transmutable, transformative way of thinking outside of what you normally think, and change the game or change the narrative for purpose and intention of whatever you're trying to get out of this life, And so it made me think of how to, one, evoke. So honestly, I didn't really know how much I wanted to talk about, how much I wanted to expose about myself. I mean, I was going to expose parts of myself in depth at some point anyway. But, I was more like, I just want to be the best, truest version of myself when I'm speaking to this audience, because this audience is going to connect to me the most, because they're going to hear stories about my life, and I want to talk about things and connect with people on a real level. That is why I started this podcast. That's why I've started all of my podcasts, because this is not my first rodeo, but in the past, it's just more to connect and build community with subject matters that are, basic, some that are, taboo, some that are, untouchable. I just want to connect with my community. And I know that you don't build community by just being born in one or being raised around one. You build community and connecting with one. And I want to build my community. So I'm going to have to come from a real place. I'm going to have to go through the stuff that I'm going through, because I don't want to spew out or project any negativity that's only going to provoke more divisiveness or dismissiveness in the fact that we need to unify as a community. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to push that narrative. So I had to deal with the things that life was taking me through, come to a real place and be honest with myself so that I can be the best version of myself by learning my lessons, and then really coming out here and speaking to people that I'm going to connect with, that I'm going to build community with, and give them the truest part of the best part of me, not the part that's going to take them down a peg, but one that's going to rise them up, and let's rise each other up together, because I want to share my mindset with you guys, but I want your mindset to be shared with me. This is an interchangeable space. I will give y'all my information, social medias and whatnot, so that you can reach out to me and we can have dialogue and share in conversation about what is and what isn't, about all of the thoughts that, we do share together. So on to what this episode is about before I lose sight of that. This episode is called How I Woman. So in each episode, I'm going to talk about, something that I can relate to, because that's the only way that I can really tell you how I got to where I'm at in my thinking or my processing, because experience can be educational, but life experience is definitely your best teacher. And I've had lots of life experience, and we'll dive into that at some point. I hope to share my experiences to help either like offer insight on a different perspective in the same shared experience, or just share an experience with you. And then hope at some point you share an experience, or you share an experience not just with me or with others, but with your trusted community. You share what you need to share. That's what I meant to say. So this episode is called How I Woman. And this episode is more so about how I realized through lifing, and stalling on all of this, because honestly, y'all, life kept lifing and I kept living. And one day I was like, how much of the true part of living am I doing? Like, am I doing the things that I set out to do? Am I fulfilling the dreams that I set for myself? And sometimes, yes, doing the work is part of the dream. And I feel that, I really do. I feel like it's part of the journey, so it's part of the dream. So if I got to do the work to heal, so that when I do get to a place where I'm in receiving of the things that I want, or I'm doing the things that I want, I'm doing it in a way that I'm walking in my truth, or I'm receiving it in the way where I know that I'm receptive of the fact that I deserve it. So I'm living in my truth in that way as well. So I just learned a lot, and I just learned about, really what I want Evoke to be about. Evoke is about what we are thinking, but it's about how we're relating to how we interact with others, how we interact with ourselves, how we interact with our environments, just a large spectrum of how we relate in life, and evoking our mentality to re-examine every way that we're living. And is it purposeful? Is it intentional? Or does it even make sense at all? Because everything ain't gonna have a step-to-step profile, meaning it has to take you somewhere. Some things are just gonna be like, okay, what a lesson I needed to learn. And not taking that negatively, but really accepting that, because then you're getting something from it, and you're able to resolve yourself from feeling like you missed out because you didn't learn nothing from it. That's really what we are missing. Or should I say, from my own experience, what I was missing was that, space of just, when people say they want to be vulnerable, that means that they want to expose. It seems to me they only want to expose what makes them comfortable enough to feel vulnerable. Or when they say they want to be open. But any of those examples are just because they want that in return. But in return, they want to be that. They're just so afraid of all that's going to come with, because I was once afraid of all that would come with. Like, okay, oh my God, if I talk this or that, or I speak on this matter or this life experience, who and what and how, and all these other things that like were just really discouraging towards me getting to be able to say, you know what, I can speak about an experience and relate to people and give them something to think about, or something to just be like, you know what, that happened. Yeah. And wow. What did I get out of it? A behavior that I do not no longer feel serves a purpose in my life, or a lesson that I can take with me for the rest of my life. Either way, the closure is not, and this is what I meant, like we all, I believe, and I am including myself as we all, some people are just so in the belief system that the resolution is outside of themselves. And the resolution is truly how you decide to close the chapter to that subject. Do you get a resolution, which involves probably another person? And sometimes another person isn't always willing. So are you still resolved with being done with the situation and not getting an ending to it? And that's fine. Or are you expecting an apology? Well, you may not get that either. But we're holding on to some type of closure But that closure will never happen if we don't, say to ourselves, I did this, and own the responsibility of being accountable for what you were responsible for. And then giving the responsibility of the other person back to them, because you don't own what another person decided to do with your relationship. You can only own what you did with your relationship. And that means your work relationship, your friendship, your personal sexual relationship, whatever, your family dynamic relationship, whatever relationship that is, you own your part, and that's all you can ever do. You can only control yourself. So I was once a person who clinged on to somebody giving me something that they can never give me. And that is that I know what I did. I know how I reacted, and let me own that. Let me learn from that. Let me discard what's not available anymore for my next chapter, and let me move forward. The resolution is in yourself. So that's how I realized how I woman. How a woman cannot ever be the way another person plays the game. I can't be influenced by what cultural, societal beliefs are. I'm an Aquarius. You will hear me reference that often because, be proud of what you are. And I'm proud to be an Aquarian. Hey. But I've never been, I always have marched to my own beat of my own drum. Whatever it is, and it may even change, because I'm really not gonna ever be the same way all the time. I'm truly that, like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, squirrel. I'm a squirrel. Okay, like I see the nut fall, and then somebody runs over there, and I see some energy, and I want to go to that too. Like, I'm just everywhere, But that makes it so much harder for me to conform to what society has told me to be as a woman, or as a person, or as an individual. So I gravitate to my own personal journey and my own triumph. And what my mom used to say is I have to learn the lesson once, but I never make a mistake twice. And that's because I got to learn the lesson on my own. Like, you can tell me all day long that that'll work. Maybe I listen. I will take some things. I'll listen to your advice. So when it's visible to me, I recognize something that you've already brought to my attention. Yeah, I'm gonna acknowledge that for this truth. But I'm gonna have to learn it on my own. So I'm gonna have to get my own way, figure it out, deal with it, see it for myself, touch it a little bit, even if that causes me to have a consequence later on. And that's unfortunate. But it's how I learn. I learn by actively doing something. I'm a hands-on learner, as they say. But that's what I do as the woman that I am. I only control what I can't control. I don't know if I should call her a mentor, maybe more like a coach. Yes, I was coached by someone at one point, and they said something that I now reference all the time when I'm really trying to regain composure, is who has control of your remote. Basically saying whenever you walk out the door, remind yourself that you are in control of your remote control. The remote control is in your hand. You control the channel. You control the volume. You control everything. Everything is in your control. And you should be the only person who holds your remote control. And it's something that I know as a person who marches to the beat of their own drum. A lot of people don't like what they don't understand. So they don't like that. The reason why there's societal and cultural influences is because you're supposed to do what we tell you to do. They don't like for you to do what you want to do. You're not supposed to be doing that. Why are you doing that? Don't do that. Do something else. Do what I told you to do. Do what we said you're supposed to do, because that's what we know. That's what's familiar to us. What's not understood is what's always a problem. That is why we have so much hatred, is because people, instead of learning from something they don't understand, they hate it and they're jealous and they're bitter because they didn't get it first. Anywho, I digress. But back to how I came up, with understanding what I needed to be in today's world as the woman that I am, is I want to be always a student in life. And that means that I'm going to have to be accountable and learn a lesson a lot. That means that I'm going to have to be wrong. That means that I'm going to have to be corrected. That means that I'm going to have to be challenged and inspired and empowered and celebrated and given myself the pat on the back and honor the strength that I've had to endure or be or express or feel in my life. It took me a long time to realize that this journey is going to include a lot of me tuning in and discovering a lot of depth and complexity in this experience. It is going to be a journey for the rest of my life. I don't have a day off to be a different type of woman. I'm going to be a different type of woman all the time. Ask a woman who is on the emotional roller coaster of a lifetime the day before her period how she don't know herself. Like, she thinks she know herself. She becomes a different woman every time. We are constantly evolving, and I don't want to shrink myself into the end of my womanhood for society or cultural indifferences with who I am as a woman. I want to always be on this journey. I like that. I think the reason why I became the woman that I'm becoming and the woman that I'll be continuing to become is because I march to the beat of my own drum. I need a different beat every once in a while. And because I get bored. I have squirrel syndrome. Didn't y'all hear me at the beginning? So I get bored and then I'm like, and my drum needs to recreate beats. And I have to be a learned experience all the time, which means that I'm going to constantly be a learning experience. I'm going to be learning. I'm going to need people to support the fact that evolution is a part of who I am, and continuing to learn more about me and learning with me about myself. That's going to take depth too. It's so much about the woman that I am, meaning the woman that I need in my community, or the person that I need, or the human that I need in my community to be people of evolution, people who are constantly willing to learn, read, grow, develop, listen. Something I should have taught. Remember how I said I didn't listen when people would tell me stuff? I mean, I listened to what I wanted to, and then I take what I wanted to learn and then just go learn on my own, because I am an active learner. But it also didn't benefit me to not listen. I learned that in the time when life was going through stuff. I was like, if I would have just listened, if I would just would have just zip my lip and listen, so much more I would have learned before I had to learn the hard way. So I do think that that's why I'm constantly going to be okay with this journey of learning and relearning and re-educating and re-examining and researching and refilling and refueling. And I just got to do a whole lot of re. You know what I'm saying? Life is going to be ridiculous, right? I'm corny too, FYI. But ride with me. It's going to be okay. But my whole thing about this whole episode is that I wanted to express to you how I woman. And I don't care if it's how you woman or how you man or how you child or how you elderly or how you couple or how you work or how you push or how you, I want you to you. You know what I'm saying? That this whole ideal mindset transition whatever you want to call it, that came about during the time that I had to re-examine what I was about to be doing when it came to talking to people about myself and to be talking to you, was how am I going to do anything different and be anything better than who I thought I was going to be for you guys in the first place. And that was that I wanted to be about all of us, not just, my story and what it means to me, but like what it means to you about who you are and how you got here. And even if it's kind of fucked up, how you got here sometimes, because sometimes it's not always peaches and cream. And I can tell you now that I came to some of these revelations through some really life hard lessons. But God, thank you. And thank you for myself being able to endure to get through to the lesson. So I just want to be able to speak to what we're so afraid of being, which is who we are. And we're afraid of what people are going to say about it. But you know what I'm saying? If people don't fuck with it, they not your fuck with people. And that's what we got to be okay with. I had to be okay with that. I used to literally try to hold on to any type of connection because I had abandonment issues, and it made so many bad connections okay to stay around in my life and continue to treat me really bad or not be in any great way meaningful for myself or for my purpose, because they only wanted to do what was opportunistic at the time. And it wasn't about being in a relationship with me, even if it was a work relationship where somebody used my creativity and then they took it, but they didn't, give me credit, or if they used my creativity and then they never gave me credit for the creativity or being input in any way at all. Or if it was a relationship where I was like, my needs weren't met, but they constantly were asking me to meet their needs, or in a friendship where I was the one calling all the time, but they never was reaching out to me, or in a family dynamic where I was always asked to apologize for what they felt I did wrong to them, but they never apologized for what they did wrong to me. And that's because I was learning that the way that people treated me was the way that I was supposed to. I don't know. That's the dynamic we'll unpack later. But all of that brought me to where I'm at. And gratefully so, because now I can open my book and I don't have to make nobody look bad, but I can tell my truth and I can speak to y'all from a real place, and I can hear everything that you say from a real place too, because now my ears are wide open. I know more to listen than to speak. And then when I do speak, I want to make sure that I speak life, period. So in today's world, I'm a different type of woman because of how I've been through the life experiences that I've went through, and how I've gotten to where I am today is because I walk my journey. I'm inspired and challenged and empowered to be a student every day of my life. And I hope that there is nothing in this journey that I miss out on because I done close my eyes and think that I've learned enough. Amen. Amen. And for that, I just want to thank y'all for coming back to listen to my show. You can follow me on Instagram at Frank_E_White. Also, you can follow me on TikTok at the same one at Frank_E_White. Also, you can find me on my stylist page because your girl is a wardrobe stylist. So if you need a personal stylist, a wardrobe stylist, or a brand shoot, content creator or creative director, I'm your girl. And you can find that at Eye on You Style. That's EYEONYOUSTYLE. Follow me. I will try to figure out how to get my YouTube back up and running, and I'll let y'all know about that because right now it's on hiatus. But I got y'all in a couple episodes about that. But thank you again for coming back. I hope you like this show and come back because it's going to be another episode right after this. I decided to stream this for you guys because I really wanted to be better. And I wanted to give y'all this first season with the rundown, and we can talk about all of it. on my live, which I'll be announcing in episode 3. And we can, do the dang thing, talk to each other, have a good time. Y'all take care of yourself. Take your thinking to the next level by thinking better for yourself, because at the end of the day, you got to pour from a full cup. An empty cup don't give nothing but dry. And you don't want to be dry. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all on the gram, and I'll talk to y'all again. Peace.